A staggering number of men past 48 completely miss it when a woman is showing interest. This isn't because they've lost their edge or are disconnected. It's because the signals have evolved. She's not going to playfully touch your forearm or giggle like a high schooler. She's not going to declare, "I'm into you," or ask you to meet for a cocktail. Her approach is different now. She'll pose a question, subtle, conversational, appearing totally benign. That question is an opening. If you fail to step through, that opening closes with the same quietness it appeared. That's the mechanics of it. You leave the interaction believing it was a friendly chat. She leaves it thinking, "Okay, guess there's no connection there." You didn't make a mistake in what you said. You simply didn't provide the right response because you failed to grasp her real inquiry. This video breaks down the subtle, non-overt questions women use to test the waters without showing their whole hand. We're going to cover 8 of these questions, decoding their genuine meaning, why they matter, and the best way to reply. The aim is to help you come across as attentive and authentic, not desperate or needy. After 50, most men learn it's not about amplifying your effort, it's about sharpening your awareness. When you get this, you begin to detect attraction where you previously saw only courtesy, feel warmth where you once felt only small talk, and sense a real, mature connection where you might have thought you were overlooked. Let's jump into the first question. It appears harmless, but it's one of the most significant litmus tests she'll send your way. Question 1. How old are you really? It sounds almost like a game, perfectly innocent. But when a woman looks you in the eye and asks, "So how old are you really?" she isn't looking for a number. She's searching for something much deeper. She can already see you aren't 30. She's not trying to win a prize by guessing your age correctly. What she's actually doing is gauging how at ease you are with yourself. She needs to know, do you wear your years like a heavy coat or like a custom tailored jacket? Your answer gives her the entire story. If you look away, get defensive, or make a tired joke about being old, she'll offer a polite smile, perhaps a small laugh, but inwardly, the energy will shift. The quality she's seeking isn't youthfulness, it's presence, it's confidence, it's the vibe that you are fully engaged in your own life, not making excuses for the journey you've traveled. The men who command attention at this age are not trying to appear younger. They are the ones who own their history, who can respond without hesitation. "I'm seasoned enough to know what counts and still hungry enough to enjoy what's next." Or, with a slow, confident smile, "Are you asking for my number or my outlook?" I once talked with a man, Rick, 64, divorced with silver hair and great style. He shared a story about a conversation in a sophisticated jazz club. The woman was maybe late 40s, sharp, elegant. After some easy banter, she leaned forward and dropped the question, "How old are you really?" Rick, thinking he was witty, shot back, "Too old for you." She chuckled, but it wasn't the warm laugh he wanted. He said the connection went cold in an instant. He understood later that he didn't just sidestep her question, he sidestepped the connection itself. This is what so many men fail to see. These questions are not job interviews, they are gentle invitations. When you answer with self-doubt or a joke at your own expense, she gets the message loud and clear. Here is what is truly going on beneath the words. As we age, we all carry a past, more experiences, more hurts, more quiet insecurities about whether we're still visible to others. But women pick up on that frequency. And when they pose a question like this, it's not just about your birth date, it's about your vitality. So the next time a woman asks you how old you are, for real, don't search for a punchline. Don't view it as a challenge. See it for what it is, an open door. Because if she is asking, she's already considering a maybe. Your reply determines if that door stays ajar. Question 2. Why have you never been married? On its face, this can feel like a deeply personal inquiry. It might even seem a bit judgmental. But when a woman asks, "Why have you never been married?" particularly with a gentle voice and a truly curious look, this is not an interrogation. It's interest wearing a very clever disguise. She is not mining your history for cautionary tales. Her true question is, are you emotionally open right now? Do you have the capacity in your world for a person like me? But this is exactly where many great men stumble. Some dive into a monologue about their entire romantic past, the divorce, the bad breakups, the missed connections. Others become guarded, deflecting with a bitter laugh and comments like, "Marriage, did that, not doing it again." Both responses achieve the same result. They shut the very window she just nudged open. She's not looking for your relationship resume, she's feeling your personal rhythm. It's about how you deliver the answer. Are you at peace with where you've been, or are you still holding it around like a piece of old, heavy luggage? The ideal response, something straightforward, centered, truthful, but not heavy. Try something like this. "Life had other plans for a while, but I'm definitely ready for something genuine now." Or even, I suppose I was just waiting to meet the right person, maybe until this moment. Think about Gerald. He's 67, a quiet guy who works with his hands, widowed at a young age. We were chatting one afternoon, and he told me about a woman he encountered at a local garden. Their conversation started with tomatoes of all subjects. Then, before he knew it, she asked him, "So, why isn't a great guy like you married?" He just froze and muttered a short, stiff reply about how it never worked out. Then he changed the topic. He saw her a week later, and then she stopped coming. "I didn't see she was asking about a future for us," he told me. "I thought it was just politeness." That's the nature of these moments. They don't come with a flashing sign. They show up softly, veiled in casual questions that feel harmless until you grasp their real weight long after she's gone. From a psychological standpoint, what's happening is subtle yet profound. A woman who asks this is feeling an attraction but wants to know it's safe to be vulnerable with you. If your response carries bitterness or seems closed off, she'll pull back. But if you answer with a calm, clear and slightly warm tone like a man who has processed his past and is receptive to a new beginning, you're telling her exactly what she hopes to hear. So, the next time a woman asks why you're not married, don't give her a reason to regret bringing it up. Give her a reason to ask you what's coming next. Question 3. Do you typically date younger women? This one throws a lot of men off balance. Some interpret it as a flattering question, while others see it as a potential trap. But here is the critical thing to understand. When a woman asks, "Do you typically date younger women?" her real interest isn't in your dating patterns. She's carefully and quietly checking your openness. What she's truly asking is it possible for you to see me as more than just a friendly acquaintance? Most of the time, she isn't seeking a simple wise. She's listening for an answer that makes her feel seen and acknowledged, not graded, not compared to others, and certainly not like you have a waiting list of 30-somethings. She wants to know that the human connection happening between you two, right now, means more to you than a number on a birth certificate. This is where some men really get it wrong. They either get cocky and boast about their experiences with younger women as if they are trying out for a role, or they clam up completely, saying things like, "Oh, I'm way too old for someone like you," effectively killing the vibe before she can even express it. Both of these approaches totally miss her intent, because her actual question is, the more effective answer is one that puts the focus on connection, not arithmetic. Consider saying, "I don't really connect by age, I connect by spirit and energy." Or maybe, "I find that how a person makes me feel is much more important than what year she was born. I want to tell you about Marcus. He's 59 with a sharp mind and always looks great. He met a woman in his go-to bookstore. She was mid-40s with a vibrant energy, and she asked him for a book suggestion. They talked, they laughed, and they ended up sharing a coffee at the cafe across the street. Then the moment arrived. She leaned back and asked, "So, do you usually find yourself dating younger women?" He paused for a second, took a breath, and just said, "I'm drawn to women who have a positive vibe. It really doesn't matter to me if they are younger or older. What matters is that we just click." She gave him a real smile, not a polite one but an engaged one. That chat led to dinner. That dinner led to something more substantial. That's the impact of true presence, of not mishandling the moment when the question is not about what it seems to be. Here's the simple truth: when a woman brings this up, it's rarely just about age. It's about her seeking permission. She's looking to investigate the possibility with you without risking too much of herself. She needs to feel that you'll meet her in the middle without making her feel silly for even asking. In our stage of life, connection isn't about playing games or using tired pickup lines. It's about understanding how to reply with honesty, warmth, and just enough of a spark to hold the door open. When she asks if you date younger women, that door is standing right there, slightly ajar. The only thing left to decide is if you'll walk through it or let it quietly swing shut. Question 4. What type of woman are you usually drawn to? Now, this question might feel conversational, like simple friendly chatter, but when a woman asks, "What type of woman are you usually drawn to?" she is not just being inquisitive. She is making a comparison, taking your measure, and trying to see if she might fit into the picture you hold in your head. Her goal isn't to get a checklist, it's to find out if she has a real shot at being that person for you. Here is the common mistake men make: they answer the question literally. They start listing off physical traits or hobbies. "Oh, someone active, loves to travel, maybe a tall blonde who plays tennis," as if they're placing a custom order. What they fail to see is that she is watching very carefully in that moment. She's listening beyond your words to what your answer reveals about how you view women in general. She needs to know if you're hung up on a fantasy, or if you're genuinely open to a human connection. She's trying to see if you have grown, or if you're still stuck on an outdated ideal from 20 years ago. The more powerful approach is to talk about the qualities that truly count, the ones that could easily describe the woman sitting right in front of you. Try saying something like, "I really appreciate women who are insightful, curious, and can find humor on a difficult day." You see how those are characteristics she might see in herself. If she's asking you this question, she is likely hoping that she fits the description you're about to give. I spoke with a man named Elliot, 62, a retired firefighter. He met a woman during a local volunteer day. They had an easy chemistry, and one afternoon, while they were painting a fence together, she asked, "So, what kind of woman do you usually go for?" Without overthinking it, he just said, "I think I'm drawn to someone who's calm, who makes a room feel more peaceful just by her presence." She was quiet for a moment, but later on, she chose to stay after everyone else to help him clean up. When he thanked her, she looked at him, smiled, and said, "I was hoping that might be my type." That is the magic of these moments. When you answer with your real presence, not a rehearsed performance, you make space for real attraction to take root. From a psychological angle, this question is her way of vetting you. She's picking up small clues to decide if she should lean in emotionally or back away. Your answer can either validate her interest or gently push her away. So, the next time a woman asks you what type of woman you like, don't just list out your fantasy. Describe the type of human connection you are truly looking to create, because odds are she is not asking just for a friend. Question 5. Are you this charming all the time? This one often comes with a smile, maybe a soft laugh. It presents as a compliment, but it's so much more than that. When a woman says, "Are you this charming all the time?" she is doing two things at once. She's validating the connection she's feeling, and she's testing to see how you will handle it. Most men miss this, but it's one of those special moments when the attraction comes directly to the surface, subtly but unmistakably. The praise is genuine, but the question that follows it is far more significant. What she's truly wondering is, can you handle this moment without dropping the ball? Can you meet this warmth I'm offering without breaking our gaze or brushing it off with a joke? Unfortunately, this is where many men retreat. They deflect, they shrug it off, saying things like, "Only on days that end in," or "I guess it's just my lucky day." In that instant, the spark she just offered you is extinguished. Here is what lands better, something that is still light and playful, but also centered. Try saying, "Only when I am with someone who makes it easy to be myself." Or even, "I try to reserve it for the moments that feel like they matter." When you respond with presence, when your tone conveys, "I am here with you, I see what you're doing, and I'm not afraid of this little dance," you give her permission to continue the playful exchange. I recall a story from Alan, a 68-year-old soft-spoken widower. He described a woman he met at a friend's dinner party. They had been talking about books and classic films when she leaned in and asked, "Are you always this charming, or is it just for tonight?" Alan smiled back and replied, "That all depends. Are you always this observant, or am I just that fortunate?" He told me that she held his gaze a little longer after that, with a look in her eyes that said, "Okay, now we're starting something." The reality is, this question isn't truly about your charm. It's about chemistry. She is offering you an opening, a safe opportunity to move the vibe from friendly to flirty without any real pressure or aggressive moves. Your answer shows her whether you're a man who is still connected to the game or completely checked out. Psychologically speaking, this compliment and question combination is a distinctly feminine method for gently advancing the connection. She is not going to make a direct first move, but she will absolutely open the door a crack. In that moment, your only task is to receive her compliment without flinching away from it. So, if a woman ever asks if you're always this charming, don't dismiss it. Let her see that yes, you are still a man who recognizes how to meet a special moment when one finally arrives, especially now. Question 6. Why is it that you don't have a girlfriend? This might seem like a straightforward question on the surface, but it is one of the most direct indications that she is not just making conversation. She's actively wondering if there's a place in your world, and maybe even in your heart, for someone like her. When a woman asks, "Why is it that you don't have a girlfriend?" she's not engaging in small talk. She's trying to get a feel for you. In a quiet way, she is asking, are you emotionally open? Are you still capable of a deep connection? Or have you closed off that part of yourself for good? So many men, without meaning to, respond to this question in ways that signal they are closed for business. They might say things like, "Oh, I'm too comfortable in my ways," or "I really value my freedom," or worse, "Relationships just feel like too much drama at my age." Just like that, they unintentionally communicate that they are emotionally unavailable and perhaps even a little cynical. But here's the deeper truth. She is not simply asking if you're unattached. She's asking if you are truly available, mentally, emotionally, and energetically. And the correct answer, if it's honest, is one that provides a sense of hope. Try responding, "I suppose I've just been waiting for something that feels right and unexpected." Or perhaps, "I've been taking my time, but I'm definitely still open to being wonderfully surprised." Consider a man named William. He's 71, dresses with flair, and has a calm demeanor that speaks of a man who is comfortable with himself. He was at an art gallery reception when a woman initiated a conversation with him. After a little while, she leaned in slightly and asked, "Why don't you have a girlfriend?" He met her gaze directly and replied, "Because I've been busy figuring out how to be a better man. Now I believe I'm ready for a better kind of love." He said her eyes never left his for the remainder of the evening. That is the impact of a truly grounded response. One that isn't afraid to show a hint of longing, a little mystery, but that comes from a place of strength. Psychologically, women in their middle and later years are just as apprehensive about rejection as men are, maybe even more so. Instead of stating their feelings directly, they often use these in-between questions. They sound merely curious, but they are actually courageous attempts to build a connection. Your response lets her know if it is safe to proceed further or if she should pull back before feeling exposed. So, when she asks you why you're still unattached, don't offer a reason for her to retreat. Give her a reason to remain curious, to stay open, and to stay with you just a little bit longer. Question 7. Would you ever consider dating someone like me? And there it is. This is the nearest you'll get to a direct admission from a woman who is trying to be bold without being careless. When she asks, "Would you ever consider dating someone like me?" she's not just looking for a compliment. She's putting herself out there, truly on the line. And you have to believe, asking that question requires real guts. It may be delivered with humor, a warm smile, or a casual tone, but beneath it all lies true vulnerability. Because now, she's not asking about women similar to her. She is asking about her. This is not a trick. This is not a game. It is a genuine moment. How you reply can either make her feel incredibly special or make her deeply regret asking. Many men simply freeze up in this situation. They attempt to play it safe, offering something non-committal like, "Oh, I don't know, it's possible." Or worse, they get flustered and try to change the subject entirely. In an instant, she pulls away. Not because she wasn't serious, but because she now feels completely exposed and alone in her attempt. So, what is the right response? Not a scripted line, not a big performance, but something utterly honest. Something that confirms she was heard and truly valued. Try saying, "I would consider myself very lucky if I could," and then say nothing more. Let that statement land. Let her feel the genuine weight and truth behind it. I recall a story from a man named Charlie, 66, a former military man, a bit rugged and not prone to flowery language. He described a moment he shared while walking with a woman he met through friends. They had been getting to know one another slowly. One evening, with the sky turning colors, she stopped, turned to him, and asked in a low voice, "Would you ever consider dating someone like me?" He told me he didn't reply immediately. He just looked at her for a moment. Then he said, "I think I would be a total fool not to." She was quiet at first, then just reached out for his hand and they continued their walk. That's what this kind of moment requires. Not cleverness, not a tactic, just simple clarity with an added touch of warmth. Psychologically, this is the final hurdle. Not in some manipulative sense, but in a profoundly human way. She is showing you her cards, not just as a flirtatious gesture, but as a woman who is wondering if she is still desirable, still seen, still able to ignite something in a man like you. You don't need to offer her a future. You just need to offer her your full presence. So, when she finally asks if you would ever consider dating someone like her, understand that it took something significant for her to say that out loud. And if you can meet her vulnerability with something true, even something as simple as that, she will remember you not as the man who pursued her, but as the man who made her feel real again. A bonus point, non-verbal signals matter immensely too. Not all questions are spoken. Sometimes, the most powerful signs of her interest aren't verbalized at all. They come from her body, her posture, and especially her eyes, the way she stays with you for just a second longer than is typical after a pause in the conversation. The truth is, women, particularly mature women, are far more skilled in subtle communication than most men perceive. They have mastered the art of sending messages without saying anything that might leave them too vulnerable. If you are not attuned to this, you will miss the signal entirely. Have you ever seen a woman tilt her head just slightly as you speak, or hold your eye contact for a fraction of a second longer than is socially normal? or laugh at something you said that wasn't even a big joke. These are not random occurrences, they are invitations. Then you have the physical signals, a light touch on your forearm as she emphasizes a point, standing just a bit closer to you than necessary, unconsciously mirroring your posture, crossing her legs right after you do, or leaning forward when you do. These are all signs that she's not just in the room, she's engaged. She's acutely aware of you. More importantly, she wants you to be aware of her. I remember a man named Daniel. He was a 70-year-old widower who hadn't been on a date in over 10 years. He met a woman in a local movie club. After several group gatherings, she started choosing a seat next to him more often. She would ask him small questions, laugh easily at his comments, and once, after they shared a laugh, she gently placed her hand on his. He thought it was nothing until she stopped doing it, and he realized how empty the space felt when that little bit of warmth was gone. She was waiting for me to acknowledge it, he later told me. And I just didn't see it, not until it was too late. That is how non-verbal cues function. They are open invitations, but they are not illogically. Our brains are wired to interpret these signals. Eye contact, personal space, and mirroring are all fundamental languages of human connection. But as we age, especially after experiencing heartbreak or long periods without a relationship, we can start to doubt what we see. We overthink it. We convince ourselves, oh, she's just being friendly. But what if she isn't? What if her glance holds more meaning than just good manners? What if that extended laugh is her way of saying, you've still got it, I see you? At our age, it is not about reading her mind. It is about staying present, remaining open, and noticing the fine details you might have missed when life felt louder and more chaotic. So here's your new assignment. The next time you're in a conversation with a woman, stop searching for the perfect thing to say. Instead, look at her eyes, her body, the subtle rhythm of her breath as she listens, and ask yourself not what do I say now, but rather what is she already communicating to me without uttering a single word? Because often, the most important messages are not found in the questions, they are found in the silences. Final reflection: respond like the man you have become. By now, you can see how nuanced attraction can be after 50. The questions are not shouted, the signals are not blatant, but they are absolutely there. They are quiet invitations, wrapped in casual conversation, waiting for a response from a man who is secure in who he is. And when that moment arrives, when she leans in, smiles, and asks something like, "Are you always this charming?" or "Would you date someone like me?" what she will remember is not just your words, but how you held yourself. Did you rush your response, or did you rest in the moment? Did you try to be impressive, or did you simply offer your truth? Because authentic presence needs no script. The men who leave a lasting mark are not the ones with perfectly polished answers. They are the ones who make a woman feel safe enough to be her authentic self. The ones who listen without looking for their next opportunity to speak. The ones who can allow a bit of silence to exist without frantically trying to fill it. Here is what I want you to take away from this. At your age, you do not have to chase. You do not have to put on a show. You have lived enough of a life to know what is real. Now, your task is to recognize the moments when someone else sees that quality in you and to be ready to meet them there. Let your posture be relaxed and open. Let your voice be calm and steady. Let your energy communicate. I am right here. I am not playing games. And if this interaction grows into something more, it will be because we both arrived with honesty. Because when a woman feels that from you, when she senses that centeredness, the entire dynamic shifts. She leans in closer, she relaxes, she lets go of her own performance too. And then, you're not merely having a chat, you are building a genuine connection. So, as we conclude, think back over the last few interactions you've had with women. Were there small moments that you now see held more significance than you first thought? Were there questions that you may have brushed aside too quickly? It's a very common experience. The next time a moment like this happens, you will not only be aware of it, but more importantly, you will truly feel it. When it does, fight the urge to get lost in analysis. Instead, stay present, compassionate, and receptive. You don't need to become someone new. Just be the man you already are, one who listens intently, acts with kindness, and is not afraid to show his true self. If this conversation struck a chord with you, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Your support allows us to keep having these important conversations with men like you who have so much more life to live.